Okay, so we've worked out how the vertices for the first triangle got drawn, and so now we're ready to start looking at how the subsequent spiral of triangles get made. So one thing we did earlier to see what was going on was we changed the number of triangles to 1, so we had just that first triangle to look at. Another thing we could do is look at 2 triangles. It'd be a little less cluttered than having all 50 of them in there. So let's run this. And so we can kind of see what's going on. We've got this corner scooched over a little bit, and then we draw a line up to here and up to here, and though that's going to be done over and over and over again, we keep rotating until we get all 50 of those. So that gives us kind of a picture, but we'd like to get a little bit clearer picture of what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring up Eclipse for a second, because I mucked with the version of CGTwoTriangles on Eclipse a little bit. And what I did was I set the triangle count to 2, but I also did some other changes. I changed the initial value of Q to 0.25. So originally, let me flip back to the originally what I did was I set Q to be 0.05. And if you're not familiar with this form with the keyword this here, what's happening is we have a constructor, our CGTwoTriangles, okay, and that constructor gets called in the triangles class when we add CGTwoTriangles in. So when we say new CGTwoTriangles, we're calling the constructor here CGTwoTriangles, and when we say this with an argument, what happens is Java looks for another constructor, another CGTwoTriangles constructor, that takes an argument that's a float, because 0.05f is a float, and here it is. Here's the other constructor, CGTwoTriangles float Q. So here, what's happening is first we call CGTwoTriangles without any parameters, and that invokes this constructor right here. This constructor calls the other constructor with an input of 0.05. F. So then Q becomes 0.05. Okay, and that's how we get that size, or we increment by that size each time. So what I did here was I changed it from 0.5 to 0.25. So it's going from 1/20th. Q goes from 1/20th to being 1/4. So we're going to instead of scooching over just 1/20th of a side, we're going to scooch over 1/4 of a side. So the inner triangle is going to be that much smaller, be easier to see. Another thing I did to make it easier to see was I said after I draw a triangle, so what's going to happen? This loop is just going to go 2 times, right? Because I changed triangle count to 2. So the first time through, it's going to draw the initial triangle, and then I said after you draw that initial triangle, set the drawing color to red. Okay, then calculate the next set of vertices and then draw that triangle. So the inner triangle is going to be drawn in red. So let's see what that looks like. Oh, and then one other important thing I did was to add some printlns in here. So system.out.println will make things print out to your console. Okay, and I said print out for me the values of XA and YA, XB and YB, XC and YC. That's in the initial vertices. So that'll print out the initial values of the big triangle. And then I said, okay, now in the bit where we're calculating the next set of vertices, print out what I ended up with for XA1, YA1, and so on. So basically what I'm trying to do is get a handle on, where exactly XA1, YA1 is in the picture here, so that I can get a better handle on these calculations. All right. So if I run this, what happens? Let's see, run as Java application. Okay, so here's the picture, and down here, you can just see the XA1, YA1. So let me do this. I'm gonna just do a window clip. Get that small, because what happens is when you do anything with this window here, like moving it, if I move it where and make this other part visible, I end up doing some redrawing, and see what happens is that the redrawing bit calls that println stuff again. So if I move this out of the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this window, because what I did was I snipped it. So I have it with my snipping tool here. So we can just look at this version. Let me see, I can get that a little skinnier. So now, like I said, our inner triangle has been drawn in red, and I'm scooching over 1/4 of a side instead of 1/20th of a side, so it's a little easier to see what's happening. And I can now go and scroll up a bit and see where let me scroll to the top here. See where my XA and YA and all that razzmatazz. So this point here is around 100. This is A, right? Point A. So this is at around 119,31, right? And XBYB is about 462.31. So notice the Y coordinates are both the same, right? And the X coordinates start at 119 and go up to 462. So that kind of makes sense. So this point right here, I was kind of write it, is around, well, really like around 120. 120, comma 31, right? And this point over here is at is about 462.21. 31, sorry. Okay, so that kind of makes sense, right? Our x coordinates are going up, so this is our point A, and this is our point B, right on the other side, right? So our x coordinates are going up, and our y coordinates stay the same. So that's good. So that's what we would expect. And then C is 291. So our this is at 291, comma 329 about. Okay, that's our point C. All right. So so now let's get a handle on where's our A1, B1, and C1 all. So for XA1, YA1, we have 205, comma 31. So look at, it's the same y coordinate. We have a y coordinate of 31, so it's got to be on this line someplace, and it's 205, which is between 120 and 462. It's closer to 120. So here's our A1. right here is A1. Okay, that's point A1. Our let's see, where's B1 and C1? So XB1, YB1, that's at 419. So 419, that's between 291. So 291 is our center X value, right? Our X center. So it's between 291 and 462, closer to 462, right? At 419. And 105, that's between 31 and 329. So it looks like this point right here is our B1, right? And then we have our C1 is at 248. 248. That's between the X value is 248. So that's between 120 and 291, right? And the Y value is 254. That's between 31 and 329, but it's closer to 329, isn't it? So it looks like this is our C1. Okay, so that gives us kind of a picture. So now we can do this. Let's see. So now we can do this. So we start with at vertex A with coordinates XA, YA, and this subscripting might look kind of weird. This is supposed to be X sub A1, Y sub A1. I was just trying to match up with the way that they're naming coordinates in the code. So we go from we go from XA. We use XA and XB to calculate XA1 and so on. Okay, but so this gives us a little bit of a clearer picture now of what's going on with the triangles, and we can use this picture or start to work on this picture, maybe at least, to start figuring out where these formulas come from.